Welcome back to the channel, guys. I got another one for you, another one of them videos that we call videos, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, this video is about pay to win, right? Pay to win is such a bitch ass concept in games that it pisses me the fuck off. But you guys, this is right. He said this one's hilarious. Words are hard to say sometimes, I'm sorry, but let's watch the video. Start, bitch.
In a gaming landscape ever more infected with tricks and systems to extract as much money as possible from its players, the term pay to win.
Yo, and I always mobile games, yo, that I told this pisses me off in mobile games. When you see an interesting fucking game, like an MMO, and you say, oh shit, this looks good. Download it, right? I realized first of all it's like an autoplay thing. There's like 15 different currencies. There's a convoluted fucking story that no one fucking cares about because we literally click the autoplay button. This is 10 seconds in and I'm already complaining. This is crazy.
Has surfaced to describe games that grant the ability to gain an advantage or even power over fellow players by wielding the ultimate legendary item, the player's wallet, with the discussion/slap fight ever flowing around which systems and specific games fall under the pay-to-win umbrella.
And sometimes not even their wallet, it's still like their fucking time. And because basically people who generally have more money have more time to like sit and play games, or they could pay someone to play their fucking games. Shout out to Elon Musk. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's always money. If it's not the advantage of paying to win, it's the advantage of like paying to have someone else do the account, or just paying for time, paying for convenience.
One game set out to expose the entire practice by being the most egregious of them all, built from the ground up to showcase not only pay to win in its purest form, but also interestingly some of the psychological trickery and bullbaggery behind it all.
Yeah, I could never get caught by this big man thing. I can't get catch. Mostly because I've been in the game so long that I just can't be caught. Like, I've seen all the tricks, I know how it is, and at this point I'm too cheap to buy anything.
Making for an eye-opening and frankly hilarious experience, this is pay to win. The tricks exposed.
He spelled the, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's the point. Best game guy.
The game opens with a text scroll written by a developer of free-to-play games, explaining that the game we're about to play has been created with the express intent to highlight and expose what goes on behind the scenes when exploitative and predatory titles are crafted, and even explaining that there's a juicy secret behind it all that is promised to be revealed upon the game's completion. To begin, we are thrown into the world.
Graphics are peak already, guys. Love this. Look at this. This is like peak graphics.
And what is apparent from the start is just how swift our new hero
look
here
at
is.
this lion. It's fuck.
Nice touch to see in a game
look at that moose over there too. This avatar.
Essentially centered around tedium. Stepping forward, we are greeted by a child of Narnia by way of Arabia, who opens with the epic statement, MMOs are dead,
Facts.
Before qualifying that with claims that contemporary monetization models have killed off MMOs, apparently, with mobile games being next on the chopping block. But fear not. Our exotic pet enthusiast child goes on to reiterate that this game will look to expose it all, before drifting into a rant about welfare and religion, which becomes a little too rich for me, as
and he just hit the fuck away.
Coming from this NPC feels more like watching The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe if it had been scripted using only...
Wait, did you just say about religion? This is also what they do. You realize that's like a hint at what they do too. They always put unnecessary fucking things like politics, like unnecessary modern day politics and junk in it. Their own worldview. They always do that too. That was a
AI-generated Twitter feeds. Working our way to the game's first settlement and flailing wildly at some of the locals, we come across our first quest giver NPC, a tutor wizard, who ironically has the look of a man who legally is not permitted within throwing distance of schools at all. With our first quest hilariously reading, blah blah blah, who reads the dialogues anyway? Just shut up and go to the quest area on the map and kill 8 zombies.
And this is exactly it, because especially with the mobile games, you have the autoplay button, so no one reads the quest. I remember playing Blade and Soul. I made it to level 62 on 2 characters. I don't know what the hell was happening in that game because I kept pressing the autoplay and just watching. Everything happened while I was on my phone.
After reeling from the outrage of being shouted at by a man wearing such a silly outfit,
it did
make me wonder. I have quite frequently just skipped through quest text, especially for non-voiced games, but now and again do read through it if the setting of the game feels worthwhile. But I would be interested how many others do though. One for the comments. Arriving outside the town at our...
I don't. I hope anybody... do you guys do? I don't think anybody does.
destination, we quickly dispatch the zombie threat and are rewarded by way of loot with literal crap and a handful of gold coins for our efforts. So far so good, I thought. As peering up at the stats at the top of the screen, we had yet to spend a single dime of luckily not actually real cash. But upon passing NPC 4, I did shudder slightly, seeing a blacksmith in a pay-to-win game giving me an eerie feeling of what may lie ahead of us. Returning to the marriage-ending birthday party.
What? Would you have to buy the weapons? I guess it's trying to extract as much money. I wonder how much of them. If I had a bingo card, I could get how much. I feel like I can get most of them. Most of
that is the town's wizard. We hand in our quest and are given a couple of skills and some new gear. But upon trying to equip them, we're told we are currently too lower level to do so.
Yeah,
Seeking out the next available quest on the map, we end up at NPC 2, a town guard who advises we raise our level higher to level 4 by once again taking out some of the land's zombies outside the town, who upon returning seem to have adopted some advanced defense tactics, standing on top of each other like an undead gymnast act. As our hero wastes no time cutting them down to gain much needed experience points, as well as it seems a smattering of additional gear that in its tooltip reveals that it is equipable by all except knights.
Isn't that the class you
with
have?
Knight being our class, this being of course a highly relatable jab at MMO looting systems, with more than a few relatable occasions coming to mind. Undead hordes defeated, level 4 achieved, and new gear equipped.
I mean, if you think about it, in MMOs it makes sense. For some of them, that is. That they want you to have the whole quest experience, so like each thing is locked to one class experience. So each items are locked to one class, or maybe two classes. So it makes sense that, let's say, a thief would use a short sword, a dagger, a bow. Maybe they wouldn't use like a two-handed sword, or maybe a sword and shield, because you wouldn't really think of a thief to be running around with a sword and shield like, hey, I stole this, come and fight me, right?
We proudly return back to the town's guard once again, noting our $0 spent while experiencing a growing looming feeling that may be about to change. Once collecting our slight upgrade quest reward, we are shown part 1 of the game's lecture on the pay-to-win model, giving the player a chance to work.
Give the user an item that is quite useful but cannot be used right now. Force the user to work for the item, then the user will find the motivation to keep playing the game. This increases time spent on the game, which in turn increases the CCU. CCU is one of the statistics frequently referred to when evaluating the success of an online game. Fuck. See, I told you that was one of them.
For an initially quite useful item to give them some motivation to continue playing, as well as some of the acronyms used by companies when putting together these systems. Marching on.
That last one. He thought he could MS give them everything in the game and make sure he. But no, I think I'm gonna say that on their part.
Acronyms used by companies when putting together these systems. Marching on, Stranger Danger gives us a quest that, quote, game designers can create without much thought, end quote. This, of course, being a kill quest combined with collecting a number of items while doing so. Which, as we work through, we encounter the dreaded first meeting with the monetization. Quickly filling up our bags with unusable gear, quest items, crap, and a super box of all things.
I want to
We are prompted to buy more inventory space, but resist we must. So after selling some junk off, managed to scrape by with no purchase necessary.
Yeah, I would do that too.
The only bag here is the one with 1 point.
Or I would work for the free currency that allows us to unlock the more in the inventory space. They did that in Summoner's War. That's the only game I ever played for fucking 10 years, bro. Damn.
To me in it, I thought, before realizing just how stupid that sounded and vowing to make sure that I kept it out of the video. Oh, shit. Upon returning, we are asked if any money was spent and walked through some of the mechanics around enticing.
Give out generously, but also always ensure that there's some deficiency. Pursue the user that some deficiency can be compensated without cash, as long as they play. This is how you avoid getting flamed. Oh, shit! I got caught. Because this is what I would do. Like, they would give me that, and I was like, I just work toward the free currency, and fuck you, I wouldn't buy
customers
anything.
Towards their very first purchase. But not this customer.
Yeah, I got
and so far, we have not spent a dime. And I'm sure that we will endeavor. What's that? I need a key to open the super box. Oh, for fuck's sake. So yes, to progress, the first bit of money is spent, but making sure to go for the 90% off deal.
Now, isn't that completely unfair? It's basically saying, like, you can only play the rest of this game if you spend money. That's so unfair. Or you don't need the super box at all. If you didn't need a super box, then you shouldn't have bought it.
to give us the most bang for the buck, which on first glance looks like a steal, but is just yet another cog in the machine for the company to do the very same. Funds in this pay-to-win game are added 10 cents at a time by clicking like a madman on the balance button, but being only 99 cents, we quickly get our gems needed for the key to our super box, that upon opening, to no one's surprise, simply contains another item that we are the wrong class to use. Next, we are tasked with
I would be so fucking mad. Like, every time I see some shit like that, I'm always reminded about that one donkey video with the Skyrim one, when he was like, yo, if I do all of this shit for like piece of gold, I'm gonna kill everybody. So said, so done. So
alright, there's another trap. It's like I said, when I do a whole sneak mission for a goddamn 4 gold in a map, I'm just gonna start killing everybody. 4 gold in a map! I had to go through Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom to get this stupid map! The goddamn closet!
so said, so done.
crafting some potions, needing 3 ingredients to whip up each. 3 bully berries, 3 important ingredients, literally called that, and 3 sheet herbs. Swiftly snatching up the bullberries gathered from out in the plains, we turn to carving down some goblin_01 mobs to collect our important ingredients.
Oh, that's what they call important ingredients. The free trial period for the complimentary feather has expired. You can only run fast when this tactic, like the 60-day trial cosmetics and the weapons, they did this a lot in Blade and Soul. Again, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't buy shit, mainly because I wasn't playing the game. It looked pretty though.
Yes, we have been slowed to a crawl, after apparently the trial period for the speed feather running out, and if we want to return to a humane speed, we will need to buy another. Staying strong, but slowly going mad, the final task was to get the sheet herbs from farming, which unlike the speed shenanigans I had seen coming. By collecting 3 seeds, we will inevitably need to farm beforehand, and avoiding the most likely the pay-to-win... Touche, silly pay-to-win game. Touche.
Wow, that's 3 of those monetization tactics. The holding back the levels with the class and the the deficiency, the currency, and now the timed. Bro, I would stop playing this game. I can't do that.
After the game revealed the inner workings of selling time to the player via these forms of purchases, and buckling under facing a 6-hour wait for all potions to finish, and having a movement speed slower than a bro on 420,
like
spent 60 bucks to get us through, with a few gems to spare. It was all coming apart, I thought. But in hindsight, I had seen nothing yet. 2 more kill quests later, with the second querying whether story is even important at all.
Yo, and the $60 is like, when you reach $100, that's when the sunk cost starts setting in. Because you're gonna say, I already spent $100. What's another $30? And then that another $30, you say that again and spent another $10, and then that keeps piling up until you spend $100. And it's like, yo, what the fuck was I doing? I wouldn't know though. I never done that.
In MMOs, and featuring a very kind halving of XP gained after completing our objective, as our 3 hours of full XP were up, with this being followed up with an explanation that such restrictions delay the overconsumption of content, due to the idea of if there's not something new, the player will leave, and to put more of a focus on meaningless repetitive quests and chance-based games.
I swear to God, if you continue playing a game that does this to you, you are a dick eater. Like, you just be guzzling. Like, how does it taste?
Elements and scenes, which lose a lot of their impact in the game after the first viewing. Another quest completed. We are given some new gear and are told to go and fight our first PvP battle. Although actually an NPC has laughably challenged us, despite being a low level, and will clearly be simply
dead. Because he bought better gear.
Okay, I see where this is going. This PvP challenger has of course upgraded their gear, giving them a far superior advantage. So we must now go do the same with our weapon to stand a chance against them, in a painful upgrade system that actually does a great job of emulating actual chance-based systems in MMOs.
This was Summoner's War too. I also remember playing Flife back in the day, bro. I was such a young kid back in the day, right? And I didn't even meds the thing. I was broke. So in my mind, like, yo, fuck it. I can't buy anything anyway. You'd play the game normally until like level 60. And then, no, not level 60, probably level 62. And then the XP gain becomes so trash. You have to fucking buy scrolls to like increase your XP. And you have to join parties so you can like get the bonus XP from the party. You needed to do so much thing to start farming, and the level cap was like I think 120 or something, and then you restart. Brother.
With chance boosters, items to keep the base item if you fail, and upgrade stones, of course, all costing a premium. This, I had to admit, is where my mission to spend as little as possible in the game started to go completely out of the window.
You're not going to
reaching
realize
over
how much money
$170, slamming my head against the chance-based system, with endless amounts of purchases made to ensure that I didn't have to start all over again. Slowly grinding away, little by little, getting closer to that coveted +10 sword.
And they don't put the percentage chance anywhere to say like, oh, you have this amount of this percentage of getting it up, or this percentage. No, you're left in the dark. I think now in gacha games they do it, but yeah,
failure
in the past
after failure
you don't know
until
shit.
finally it was complete. The secret that this game speaks of better be worth it after a grind like that, I thought, with finally being able to equip this new deadly weapon when oh God. Enhancing the rest of the entire gear set took several hours of mindless grinding, grabbing the same materials backwards and forwards, trying to get it all upgraded, and made all the worse when once accidentally forgetting the item that stops the damn thing breaking when just about to get it all completed. This, as you can imagine, took the in-game money spent to insane levels, into the thousands, and when having to click at 10 cents a time, the items being far from the only things breaking, which would have been much funnier if I wasn't constantly reminded that this actually happens to people, getting hooked into spending their hard-earned money on systems like this.
Don't know how.
With this game even including the server-wide messages that I've seen in a whole host of games, alerting other players of successful upgrades to encourage.
This is what gives that. Oh wait, he's gonna tell you
more
what.
into diving into the dark depths of it themselves.
Yeah.
With interestingly the game claiming that frequently a lot of these messages we see as players are actually completely fake.
Okay.
They don't actually reference real players at all.
Thank God.
Which makes me curious to check next time I'm wandering around in an MMO and I
I've
see
seen
this
them a
pop
lot
up to test out.
And I always wonder, like, what the fuck does this even mean? I can only refer to Braden Soul mobile. I played the mobile version again. I never played one on PC. I think you have to pay for that one.
So if you unlock something in an MMO and a random British guy starts talking to you, apologies in advance. Hours later, and a full set of upgraded gear equipped, we return to the PvP Challenger to get some
You think he's gonna win?
vengeance.
I don't think he's
With
gonna
now
win.
both a level and gear score advantage. Surely now we...
This reminds me of the one video I was watching yesterday on about Ark. This dude that found the whole fucking wall in this one server, and then him and his friends decided he wanted to like, raid that fucking wall because the Streisand effect took effect, right? Basically, they saw something and it's like, what the fuck is going on? They went around it. He went around it first, and it's like, you can't get in regardlessly. And so he found a way in. It then it's a whole thing because some Russians were trying to destroy the server, and they basically like, no, you're not gonna do this. So they started fighting back, and I'm getting off topic.
Ah yes, of course, when you think it's all over, there's yet another hurdle to tackle. This time being elemental resistances, with yet another chance-based system to grind through, to roll the correct stats to imbue our gear to grant us enough resistances to hold our own. With yet another hole scorched in our virtual pockets, we are told that we now need to retrieve a legendary sword from a premium dungeon.
Isn't that
By
the
its name alone, I'm sure will only be
quest?
adding to the aforementioned hole, running across the land and paying another dodgy
Did he ever beat the NPC?
as hell-looking NPC for entry, and once getting stuck in and challenging the same boss
Dead.
over and over, the old trick of dropping unusable items comes back into play, leading me to have to take so many attempts at this that I'm getting dread-filled flashbacks of how long it took me to get a certain horse out of the chilling grasp of a certain Lich King. Fuck you to the moon, Arthur. Fuck you to the moon. No matter how many times we went in, it was no dice. But after a final attempt, a bunch of advertisements
At least
were
he didn't
flashed
spend
up,
any-
and our mission shifted to resorting to getting the sword
fuck was
from a
that?
hyper-random box, which I'm sure you can all see the implication there. Enough was enough, so powered through the utterly ridiculous amount of boxes it
Crap.
took to complete the
Crap.
objective. I'm serious. This is not sped up and was actually the amount of times it took me to get this damn thing.
A lot of crap.
Of
You have
course,
to
even
click.
after obtaining it, we were tasked with upgrading it, and also buying a skin to show off our superiority. with
You
them
didn't
as
have
a
to do
victory
that
lap
one.
asked to run around the land to cut down players that had opted out of spending real cash to drive the point home. Although while doing so, there were one or two that I did have a suspicion may have actually been in the store after all. With only one more task remaining
I just
to
realized
clear up the
it
unfinished
said
business
kill the
with
free users. Why would you even encourage that in your game?
the PvP Challenger. With after hours of mindless upgrades and bullshit, thousands of dollars spent, and an index finger that would make even Quasimodo dry retch. Finally
you can do it.
defeating the horned bastard, and with that completing the game. To have
What?
the secret, mentioned at the beginning, finally revealed.
Now, it is time to reveal the secret.
You tilted.
Are you disappointed that the secret was so simple?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Value can be subjective, emotional, or intrinsic.
You know, like thinking about it, he didn't need
You
to spend
decide
that
if a
much.
game is worth your money. If it has value for you, then spend your money. The end.
I don't know about you, but the secret being a fairly obvious statement is a bit of a cop-out. So here's a picture of Maria Brink to make up for it. And the ladies, what do the ladies like?
Maria Brink?
Oh, there we go. Joking aside, this pay-to-win exposed game does actually
Sorry.
point out some quite interesting details around contemporary gaming practices, such as games intentionally creating overpowered classes, then nerfing them down the line, to
Yeah.
lead to players moving from one to the other, and with it,
Summoners War does that every time they introduce new characters that are trash. People will like buy fucking diamonds and jake. No one cares for Summoners War.
getting more options to spend money on boosts and cosmetics. And the developers can actually become incredibly apprehensive to release massive updates, due to once the hype dying down, actually losing more players than before
want
it was
game that-
released.
I think
due
there
to
was
the
a game,
VIPs that have spent
I remember
hundreds, if not thousands of dollars,
fucking
no
game
longer
was-
having the top tier gear and items, diminishing their
Apex Legends. The dude was saying they're dying because they're not updating enough, and they are suppressing community-made content. Like, well, why would you do that, EA? Are you dumb?
investment. And that according to this game's dev team, the drop rates on your favorite farmable items is far, far lower than you think.
Oh,
Overall,
see, I
pay to
knew
win, the
it.
tricks exposed is a bit of a tragic comedy when it comes to unveiling the contemporary monetization models of today's gaming space. Its tongue-in-cheek jabs at all too familiar tropes and practices
at least-
tinged
I mean, at least it's how he's OP as shit. Look at he killing everybody easy.
with a
Look
quite
at that.
depressing realization that more and more these elements are making up what we consider industry standard.
Oh, wait,
and
never
especially
mind, it was-
alarming when you see that this game was actually created over 7 years ago. Although at the same time, things aren't quite as doom and gloom
Why is it mixed? Why is the review mixed?
in some areas that the game may want you to think. At least as far as I'm concerned. Not yet. And on that note, it would be great to get your thoughts on this down in the comments.
done.
Please consider dropping a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And show that subscribe button. Who's boss? For so much more coming up on the channel. I want to give a massive shout out.
Anyway, yeah. That's the video, guys. Yeah. What do you think about the video? Do you like the game and like the tricks? Do you understand? Did you learn anything? I'm pretty sure much knew all of these tricks. So again, you can't catch me. I'm the best out here. I'll never spend money on a game. That's a lie. I spent money on a game. Or I've never spent. Let me not say that either. I've spent. Hey. If you find the value of do you find value in what you want to spend your money on, man? If you want to be a whale in a game about some fucking whole anime chicks, you do that. But this is me, and I'll see you guys in another video.